We are going to try something here with you. We are taking a previously scheduled business time, and as we voted in the prior session, we're going to return to the Resolutions Committee report. Now, if we get presidential ballot results in the middle of this, we will suspend what we're doing with the Resolutions Committee report and come immediately to you with the results of the presidential election. Here's what we want to try to do. Because of the pre-filing system that we have, we know which of the proposed resolutions have really received attention from people in terms of proposed amendments and other motions related to the resolutions. But that also leaves us a list of resolutions that did not attract substantial attention in terms of pre-filed motions. And so I want to mention to you four resolutions that fall in that category that seem to have a pretty good consensus among the messenger body, we think. And what I want to try to do is for us to approve these resolutions by general acclamation. In other words, I'm just going to ask if anybody has any objection to those. And if you do have an objection to one of these, we will pull it out of this group that we're trying to approve by general acclamation, and we'll put it in for discussion with the rest of the group. Now, what I need is to tell you what they are. Actually, I need the committee to move them, so I'm going to recognize Chair of the Committee on Resolutions, Kristen Ferguson, to move the adoption of these four resolutions that we think you would generally agree on.
Great. My name is Kristen Ferguson, and I am a messenger from 11th Street Baptist Church in Upland, California, and I move that the convention adopt resolution, all of them, you want all of them, Bart?
I do,
okay.
Yes.
The resolution number 7 on God-given rights and responsibilities of parents. Number 8 on the danger of abusing non-disclosure and non-disparagement agreements. Number 9 on the Great Commission and evangelism. And number 10 on appreciation for the city of Indianapolis.
Okay. So, is there any objection to the adoption of these four resolutions? Okay. Those who have an objection, would you please go to a microphone and press the other button, and you can tell us which resolution you object to our adopting at this time. Thank you. So, microphone 1, would you make room for this brother so that he can let us know about that? Please state your name and your church and where it is, and then which resolution.
Dean Schooler, Antioch Southern Baptist Church, Harrisonville, Missouri. I am concerned with resolution number 8 and would vote no. That is why I'm concerned.
That is your right to do. Thank you for helping us to know that there are 3 that we can proceed forward with, we think. Okay. Microphone 4A, would you please state your name, your church, and if you object to general consensus on a motion, would you let us know which one?
Yes, my name is Scott Myers from University Park Baptist in Houston, and I also object to number 8.
Okay, very good. So anybody who objects to 8, you can cancel that because we are already taking it out for consideration later on, okay? So, the board is clear. And so, seeing no objections, we will consider resolutions 7, 9, and 10 to be adopted. And we will recognize now the Resolutions Committee for the first resolution they wish to present.
Thank you. Yes, so I want you all to be aware of the order now that we're going to be adopting the resolutions. Because it's a little different because of what we just did. And again, we're trying to make sure that you have some time to discuss the ones that we know you want to discuss because you filed some amendments. So The next ones that we're going to discuss, the next one is going to be resolution number 4 on justice and peace in the aftermath of the October 7th attack. And then, after that, I'm just going to let you know that we're going to be discussing on the ethical realities of reproductive technologies and the dignity of the human embryo. And finally, we will take on pro-life ethic in a post-Roe society.
And then after that, Resolution 8.
And then Resolution 8. Thank you.
Okay, very good.
So, okay. So,
Good evening. I am Chris Sanchez, a messenger from Palmetto Baptist Church in Palmetto, Georgia. I move that the convention adopt Resolution 4 on justice and peace in the aftermath of the October 7 attack on Israel. You'll find this resolution on page 9 of the Tuesday SBC Bulletin.
The question is on the adoption of Resolution 4. Is there any discussion? Microphone 8A, please state your name, your church, and your motion.
Hi, my name's Matt McCraw. I'm a messenger from First Baptist Church of Bartow, Florida. And I would like to make what I hope, for the sake of time, will be a friendly amendment.
Proceed, yes, please.
On the 5th resolved, I'd like to strike the word "those calling" and simply change that to "calls." And then I'd also like to add the word "permanent" before the word "ceasefire."
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. Please give a copy of your amendment to the page. And would you like to, don't go away, would you like to speak to your proposed amendment?
Mr. President, do I need to speak to it if it's considered
No,
friendly?
that's just it's your right, but you
I would
do
like
not
to
have
speak
to
to
exercise.
it if it is not received as a friendly amendment.
Okay. You need to go ahead and speak to it. Right now, you have a right of privilege to be able to
Certainly.
speak first.
I will take my right of privilege. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So I think the word "calls" makes it more of an objection to an idea rather than to particular persons. I also think the word "permanent" added to that indicates that we are not opposed to temporary ceasefires, which may be agreed upon by all parties, such as what we've already seen this past November.
Okay. Would the committee like to respond?
Yes, Mr. President, the committee accepts that as a friendly amendment.
Is there any further consideration? Is there any objection? Any objection? Seeing none, then we will consider the resolution to be amended, and we will turn to the question on the adoption of Resolution 4. Is there any discussion? Microphone 2A. Would you please state your name, your church, and your motion?
Hi, my name is Braden Hotchkiss, and I'm a messenger for the North Point Church in Lutz, Florida. No relation to Andy Stanley. And I have a motion to amend, and that is in the 5th whereas, I motion that we remove "since God called them as his people in the days of Abraham." And then also I would motion in the 7th resolved, insert the word "especially" in between the words "we" and "pray," so that it reads, "honoring the difficult ministry of Jewish and Palestinian believers who labor for the gospel, as we especially pray for their own protection and ministry."
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. Please give a copy of your amendment to the page, and would you like to speak to your amendment?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
So the only reason I want to remove the beginning, or the end, of the 5th whereas is for the sake of unity in the topic of covenant theology and dispensationalism. Sorry, the echo's throwing me off. Basically, that final statement is saying that it's mainly dispensationalist in nature, by saying, "since God called them as his people in the days of Abraham." It is still debated within Baptist circles if the Jewish people are the people of God. And this is for the sake of unity. that we favor towards covenant and dispensational. I'm not saying we strike the whole thing because the beginning statement does include that there's differences. But at the end of this statement, it takes to tend to one side. That's the reason I would say that. And then down in the 7 resolved, the reason we add the term especially after the term we and before pray is just to emphasize the prayer and ministry of believers that are Jewish and Palestinian. Thank you.
Okay. Would the committee like to respond?
Mr. President, we received both of those suggestions as friendly amendments.
Is there any objection to receiving these amendments? There is objection. Okay. Then we will open the floor for discussion. Do you have any discussion on the amendment? Okay. So, do any of you who have a motions button pressed, do you have motions that you want to amend this amendment? That's the only motion that's in order at this time. Okay. No. Okay. Is there any discussion? Microphone 8A, would you state your name, your church, and please speak to the proposed amendment?
Hi, my name is Stephen Feinstein from Sovereign Way Christian Church in Hesperia, California. And I oppose the first part of this amendment because if we read our Bibles, God did in fact call them as his people in the time of Abraham.
Okay.
Covenantalists agree with that, and so do dispensationalists. And the fact is, persecution and anti-Semitism did start at that day, and it continues to today. This has no bearing on whether or not one is a covenantalist or dispensationalist.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? They're not. They're not. Microphone 5A, would you like to speak against the amendment?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Please state your name, your church, and make your case.
Kevin Short, Crittenden Baptist Church. I am a dispensationalist. However, I believe this amendment is left over from the 19th century. Charles Hodge, in both his systematic theology and his commentary on Romans, maintained both a covenant theological position as well as a position on the restoration of Israel. Most covenant theologians I have met since hold to that position. This seems to be unnecessary.
Okay. Does anyone else wish to speak to this amendment? Okay. Tell me in the microphone. 10A. Microphone 10A, would you state your name, your church, and your motion?
My motion was on the original.
Okay. Not in order at this time. Microphone 1A, your name, your church, and your motion.
My name is Glenn Dewar. I am a messenger from University Baptist Church in Beaver Creek, Ohio, a professor of international studies at Cedarville University. I move to make a friendly amendment to the proposed resolution.
Okay, that's not in order at this time. We're speaking to the amendment that is already on the floor. Okay, the other two at microphone 1, do any of you wish to propose an amendment to this amendment? Okay. When you're in one of these business sessions and we've got motions to amend and everything, if you see your number go off, don't push it again. We've gone into a different question, and that's what's creating this. So just hold on. It's a different level. When we get out of the amendment, you'll pop right back up automatically. You won't have to do a thing, okay? All right. Microphone 10A, do you wish to speak for the amendment?
Yes, I would like to speak for this amendment.
Please state your name, your church, and make your case.
Aaron Decker, Red Village Church, Madison, Wisconsin. I think that the amendment does have good clarifying language to it. I think we're mostly on the same page here, but I have heard the idea that without faith, ethnic Israel still has a, let's say, specific salvific import being brought to that, and I think this amendment clarifies that well.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion? Microphone 2A, would you state your name, your church, and your motion?
Travis Tyler, Grace Baptist Church, Elizabethton, Tennessee. It's throwing me off here, my voice, sorry.
I understand.
I'd like to call the question all the way up. Motion to the amendment.
Okay. So it has been moved that we move the previous question and end debate on this pending amendment and on the main motion. It requires a 2/3 vote and is not debatable. As many as are in favor of limiting debate, would you please lift your ballots? Thank you. You may lower them. As many as are not in favor of limiting debate, would you please raise your ballots? Thank you. You may lower them. Those in favor have it, and the previous question is moved. We will now vote on the amendment and then immediately vote on the resolution. So the question before you is on the adoption of the amendment to the original resolution. As many as are in favor of amending the resolution in the way that's shown on the screen, would you please lift your ballots if you're in favor of the amendment? Thank you. You may lower them. As many as are opposed, would you please lift your ballots? Thank you. You may lower them. Those opposed have it, and the amendment is lost. We now proceed immediately to the main question of the adoption of Resolution 4. As many as are in favor of the adoption of the resolution, would you please lift your ballots? Thank you. You may lower them. As many as are opposed, would you please lift your ballots? Thank you. You may lower them. Those in favor have it. Resolution 4 is adopted.
Ready?
We have news for you. And we're going to let the Resolutions Committee sit for a moment.